You know, you mentioned the Yes for Minneapolis vote tomorrow.
Yeah, I want to get back to the carjackings too, because I think it's pertinent to that vote.
You guys, I'm really concerned this is gonna happen.
Mm-hmm. Well, then Minneapolis is going to get what it deserves. It'll disappear.
Yikes. Oh, did you get the email, by the way, talking about Chief Axtell resigning? Sorry, help me. Who were we talking about last week? The name is escaping me.
What are you talking about? We covered the resignation. Axtell did not resign. He will not seek reappointment.
Correct, but Arredondo coming out.
Yeah.
And then Lisa Bender filing a grievance against him for that.
Yeah.
There was an email. And
I read the email, and there's a suspicion that the emailer believes that maybe Arredondo was hoping for an ethics complaint so they would fire him so he could continue to get his money, as opposed to having this charter amendment passed, and somehow he is just going into the dustbin somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I did read that.
You're better at talking than I am.
Yeah.
I thought
that's right.
I think that there's some validity to that, don't you?
I have no idea, but I think he waited too long to express his exasperation. He had a great line. You don't often hear such heartfelt lines from people in his position. Give me something. I don't care if it's written on a napkin.
Yeah.
Show me what the hell you're talking about.
Right. But don't you think waiting till when he did, when it's not quite a week before Election Day, was important?
Well, what's the ethics complaint? You got the Attorney General of the state that's weighing in on don't vote for that, or vote yes.
His name's on the TV.
What the hell's the ethics complaint?
The city has a whatever you would call it, where you can't, that people in that position or any position like that can't talk about any political issue.
Then what's Ellison doing?
Whatever. Well, he's not a city employee. He's a state employee.
City Council President Lisa Bender announced late last week that she filed an ethics complaint against Arredondo and Fry, including the mayor's role in directing the planning the event, since the chief reports directly to the mayor, because the chief appears to have used city resources, including the support of city staff, city logos, and MPD uniforms at a press conference explicitly focused on taking a position on a ballot question. Bender noted the city's charter requires local officials to report any violations so an investigation can be concluded. Bender said she believes Arredondo's press conference specifically violated Code Section 15.110C that states a local official, employee, or candidate for elective office shall not use city facilities, property, funds, personnel, the city logo, the city seal, and other city resources to engage in political activity. She also noted the Minneapolis ethics officer, Susan Trammell, warned the Minneapolis City Council on May 12th to not develop an ordinance to provide a detailed plan for the proposed Department of Public Safety, because it could be perceived as campaigning for the ballot question. Yeah, B as in B, S as in S. What's he supposed to do? Not wear his police uniform when he wants to tell you something?
Well, and this is just a quick gotcha moment, isn't it, basically, by her? Mm-hmm. Really, Lisa, that's what you're worried about right now? Your city is crumbling to the ground.
She doesn't care, man. She's leaving.
And she wants it to pass, so she's, doesn't give a damn.
We're dealing with some bad people, man. We're dealing with some bad people.
That's an understatement.
That are risking the health and commercial vitality of a major city in this country. That's why this election is being watched all over the country, if not the world. Mm-hmm. It's making every website that I consult every day.
And what was the city? Was it Austin? Remember the story you did where they basically regretted going?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, here's what you're voting on tomorrow upon the discovery of this open season on carjacking. The brazen attack on that 72-year-old woman, there's a picture of the bruise she suffered on her chin in Minneapolis, fit a familiar pattern among a spate of violent carjackings throughout the Twin Cities this year, a troubling surge that law enforcement largely attributes to small groups of marauding teens. In many cases, juveniles use the stolen vehicles to commit other strong-arm robberies. It's open season out there, said the 72-year-old woman who spoke on condition of anonymity, because at least one suspect remains at large. We are not safe in this city, she said. Police say suspects tend to approach victims on the street, sidewalk, or parking lot, often while they're distracted with routine tasks. A significant number of armed stick-ups have targeted seniors and the unaccompanied women at their vehicles on the Minneapolis South Side. You should be able to take groceries out of your car without fear, said Minneapolis police spokesman John Elder, noting that the department responded to the increase in carjackings by adding investigators to the team handling auto thefts. Over the past 5 weeks, police have logged more than 63 carjackings in the city. 63.
Wow.
MPD did not specifically track this type of crime until September 22nd because they were so infrequent. Previous cases fell under the larger umbrella of aggravated robbery and auto theft. But the agency created a new coding system after the summer months yielded an unusually high number of attacks. And this goes on and on to tell us, in a persistent wave of robbery since mid-July, a cab driver was shot after confronting two men breaking into his cab. A father of two was dragged a short distance when he tried to stop a man from stealing his vehicle with his wife and child inside. Juvenile suspects incapacitated motorists with chemical irritants in back-to-back Labor Day carjackings. Thieves stole the running car of a Domino's driver along with two handguns stashed inside as he approached a St. Paul residence to deliver pizza. And Wednesday, teenagers followed a St. Paul woman into her open garage and ripped her from the driver's seat by her hair as she talked on the phone with her mother. The spree comes amid a nearly unprecedented spike in violent crime, particularly shootings, since the May 25th killing of George Floyd last year. Fed up, citizens are flooding social media to warn their neighbors, encourage one another to arm themselves, or at the very least, to buy security cameras and small GPS trackers for their keys. The voters have a tremendous responsibility to go into the polling place tomorrow with this information in their minds.
You know what we need? We need Royce to step up his game big time.
Royce.
Vote early, vote often.
Yeah.
Pat, hit every polling station you can.
It's a shame. It's a shame. And if you don't think this will ultimately affect the Twin Cities being one of the 13 or 14 metro areas in the country with all four major league sports teams, you're sadly mistaken.
Of course. Yeah. And the other part is, let's just say it does happen, because I'm trying to do the reverse psychology. I'm thoroughly trying to convince myself that it is going to happen so that it doesn't. But let's just say this does pass. It does get enacted. This is going to affect the entire state, not just the city of Minneapolis.
Well, yeah, Minneapolis is the economic engine that provides for the state.
Right.
And it's not a very active town at the moment.
No.
It's not bustling.
Well, I told you guys last Sunday night when I went to the Stones concert, I couldn't believe that there was hardly anything open. And there were, 50,000 people
Well,
at that?
my brother and his family said Monte Carlo was rocking.
Was it? Okay. Because where I parked, I walked by at least 5 different establishments, and not one of them were open. And this was 7:30 at night.
And the night did go off well,
Yeah.
in terms of public safety. The gangbangers must have taken time out,
Well, they wanted to be respectful. It was the Stones.
not
Joe.
shoot each other.
Right.
Yeah. But, man, when you go into the booth tomorrow, here's a woman, Susan Passons, had just thrown her car in park, made an appointment on her phone, and stepped out of her vehicle in the Linden Hills neighborhood when 4 teenagers surrounded her. The group shoved Passons to the ground, then pilfered her cell phone, bag, and car, all in under a minute before a bystander chased them off. 10 minutes later, officers spotted her stolen black Audi less than 2 miles away at a reported robbery outside a nail salon. The car is yet to be recovered. Since the October 23rd attack, Passons has struggled to sleep and suffered flashbacks. For the first time in her life, she contemplated buying a gun. Today, women do not feel safe in Minneapolis, she said. Our once thriving city has become an utterly frightening place to live.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And they're going to the polls tomorrow to reimagine public safety.
Well, Joe, if we bring the social worker in, then everything will be fine. By the way, I have someone very close to me who is a social worker, and I was chatting with her yesterday about this very subject, and she said, I don't want to go on these calls. And I can't imagine anybody else.
Who
Who in the hell would?
Right.
Yeah.